In one of the forests, there was a young boy named Ryoma, 11 years old, living alone in the forest with a large number of slime monsters, numbering up to 1,000 slimes. Ryoma explains to us the types of slimes he has and how they are useful to him in his daily life. Early in the morning, Ryoma goes hunting in the forest, saying that usually he encounters goblins and bandits and fights them, showing his remarkable skills despite his young age. But luckily, today is a quiet and peaceful day. Suddenly, Ryoma hears the sound of a group of people trying to save their friend Hughes, who looks severely injured and on the brink of death. Ryoma approaches them, initially thinking they are bandits, but realizes from their appearance that they are not. He is still confused about what they are doing. He sees Hughes lying injured and in pain on the ground, and they are trying to treat him but are failing. At that moment, Ryoma approaches them and calls out, but they are afraid of him, and one of them draws his sword and asks, "Who are you?" Ryoma gets nervous and confused, thinking to himself that he hasn't spoken to anyone in years, so his voice sounds strange and he speaks like a caveman. He tells them that he has medicine to save their friend and shows it to them. One of the team approaches Ryoma, smells the medicine, and confirms that it is indeed medicine and not something harmful. After that, their friend drinks the medicine and they notice he improves, but he will remain asleep for a while due to blood loss. Their leader thanks Ryoma. Ryoma tells them they can come to his house to rest until their friend recovers. They follow him to his house, and on the way, they are very surprised about what a young boy is doing alone in the forest and say he looks like a hunter, perhaps living alone here. Suddenly, Ryoma stops on the road and tells them a monster is coming from that direction. They are surprised but prepare to fight. Suddenly, they see a large number of slimes coming towards them. The team is about to attack, but Ryoma stops them and tells them these slimes are his friends. The team sheathes their swords again and apologizes to him, continuing on their way. On the way, the leader says he remembers having a slime when he was young, and it was his first companion. Ryoma asks, "Are you a tamer too?" The leader replies, "I am a former tamer and my whole family has been tamers for generations. I used to have red horses and storm monkeys as friends." Ryoma realizes that this leader must be a noble person and very well known in society. Eventually, the team reaches a large wall and thinks the road is completely blocked, saying, "Where is your house?" "This place is blocked." Ryoma uses his magic to open a large hole in the wall, revealing his house, and tells them to come in. The team is surprised that he can use magic and has created such a large magical barrier to hide his house. They enter the house, lay their friend on the bed to rest, and start talking. They discover that the house is furnished for one person and realize that Ryoma lives alone in this place. They think about all of Ryoma's actions since they met him and conclude that he indeed lives alone. Ryoma returns with a bunch of medicines and thanks them. Their leader says he will repay Ryoma with money, but Ryoma says there is no need because he makes the medicines himself. The team is even more surprised and asks, "Do you make these recipes yourself?" Ryoma replies, "Yes." They are even more astonished and ask, "Who are you really?" Ryoma gets flustered and says, "Have some iced water." They are even more amazed that Ryoma can use ice magic as well. It seems they will keep being astonished by everything Ryoma does. The leader asks again, "Who are you?" Ryoma realizes he can't avoid the question anymore and says, "My name is Ryoma, and I was with my grandparents who died 3 years ago." The leader apologizes and introduces himself as Reinhardt, Duke of Gmil. Ryoma is shocked that the group's leader turned out to be a duke and apologizes. The duke says, "Why are you apologizing? We are indebted to you." Afterward, the other team members introduce themselves. One says, "I am Camille and I am a mage." The second introduces himself, saying, "I am Zeph and I am an explorer." The third apologizes for drawing his sword at Ryoma in their first meeting, and Ryoma says, "It's okay, you were just being cautious." Ryoma asks them what happened to them on the road. The Duke says they encountered bandits on the road outside the forest. Ryoma asks, "Is that why he got injured?" The Duke says, "No, it was a black bear that suddenly appeared on the road from the forest and injured him." Camille tells Ryoma that they defeated the black bear, but unfortunately, their horses got scared and ran away. They needed to get Hughes to the city quickly, so they entered the forest to take a shortcut, and then they met Ryoma. The Duke asks Ryoma another question, "What are you doing here? You can use many types of magic and make potions, so why are you living alone in the forest?" Ryoma tells them he learned all these skills from his grandparents, who were former adventurers. The Duke asks, "So, your parents are on an adventure now and you are waiting for them?" Ryoma replies, "No, unfortunately, they died 3 years ago, and I have been living alone all this time. Before they died, they told me to go to another village, but the villagers didn't like me." The Duke says, "I understand the problem, but I don't understand how you managed to live alone in the forest for so long." Ryoma replies, "I have been fine, living alone here for 3 years. Camille then brings out a crystal ball to detect Ryoma's remarkable skills and see if he is a criminal or not. They have Ryoma try it, and it shows that he is not a criminal and his outstanding skills are housekeeping, mental pain resistance, and physical pain resistance. On top of that, Ryoma is only 11 years old. Everyone is shocked by what they see. The Duke decides that he must help Ryoma and not leave him alone here, but he is unsure how to help him and decides that when he returns home, he will talk to his father and his wife Elise about Ryuma's situation. After a few hours, Hughes wakes up, and the Duke and his men prepare to leave. Hughes thanks Ryuma and tells him he is the Duke's personal guard and that if Ryuma ever needs anything, he will always be there to help him. Ryuma thanks him, and they leave, bidding farewell to Ryuma. After they leave, Ryuma tells us his true story, which is that he was an overworked employee in his previous life and suddenly died from work stress 3 years ago. He then reincarnated into this world as an 11-year-old child with all these skills and began taming all these slimes. Returning to the present, Ryuma is counting his slimes and notices that their number has increased significantly. Suddenly, Ryuma hears the sound of a group of people calling out to him. When he looks, he sees Hughes, the Duke, the entire team, along with the Duke's family and servants. Ryuma is happy and welcomes them. And at that moment, the Duke's father approaches Ryuma, welcomes him, and introduces himself. Also, Elise, the Duke's wife, introduces herself to Ryuma and thanks him for saving her husband and his men. Then the Duke introduces his daughter, Elia, to Ryuma. Elia is very surprised by the large number of slimes around Ryuma. Ryuma welcomes them and apologizes for not being able to offer them any hospitality at the moment. The grandfather laughs and says, "We came without notice, don't say that. But I've heard you have a contract with all these slimes." The Duke asks if the number of slimes has increased since the last time. Ryuma responds, "Yes, you're right. They have split into a larger number." Elia asks Ryuma if he can fit all these slimes into his house. He replies, "Yes, of course," and shows them how by merging the slimes into a larger slime. As usual, everyone is astonished and tells him it's an incredible feat that no tamer has ever managed to do. Ryuma explains scientifically how he achieved this, and everyone is amazed. Ryuma then invites them into his house and serves them ice water. The Duke then gives Ryuma a very luxurious watch as a gift for helping them the last time, saying they noticed it was the only thing missing in his house. Ryuma thanks them and accepts the gift. The Duke then mentions another reason for their visit. Elia quickly asks Ryuma to teach her to be an excellent tamer like him and to tame slimes like his. She doesn't know which type of slime to start with and is unsure about the whole process. Ryuma begins to explain the types of slimes and surprises them with new types like the cleaner slime and the garbage slime. He shows them how he benefits from the slimes in his daily life, and everyone is impressed by the slime's capabilities and the cleaner's efficiency. Elia decides to raise a cleaner slime, but Ryuma feels embarrassed about explaining the method to attract cleaner slimes. He says he will tell the men only, and indeed, he gathers them and explains the somewhat embarrassing process. Hughes bluntly tells Elia she needs to bathe well and collect the water she bathed in to attract the slime, as it is attracted to body sweat. At that moment, all the women are embarrassed and slap Hughes on the face. Elia then takes a shower, collects the water, and goes to the spot where the slimes gather. She successfully tames a slime and returns very happy, and Ryuma congratulates her on her success. They then go back inside, and Ryuma recalls his first pet, the first slime he tamed. He remembers how happy he was and named it Tabuchi after his first colleague when he was young. Elise asks Ryuma what he plans to do next. Ryuma says he hasn't decided whether to stay here or go somewhere else. The grandfather then suggests he join them on a trip to the town of Gemili and that he can always return here anytime. Ryuma thinks for a moment and then decides to travel with them. Everyone is happy with Ryuma's decision. He then starts packing his things, and the Duke tells him he can put his belongings in the head servant's dimensional bag. Ryuma says it's okay, he has his dimensional bag as well. Everyone is surprised that Ryuma knows this magic too, and that he is skilled in magic as well as being an excellent tamer. Elise, who is also good at magic and loves it, excitedly tells him that if he needs to learn anything about magic, she can help him for sure. In the evening, Ryuma packs all his things in the house. In the morning, he gets ready to leave. The head servant takes out the carriages and horses from his storage space, and they all ride and leave. We learn that Ryuma was very comfortable during the few days of this trip. But one day on the road, it rains heavily, causing a landslide, blocking their way. They don't know how to proceed. The Duke decides to take a detour, but it would add 3 more days to the journey. At that moment, Ryuma decides to wear his raincoat and go help solve the problem. Everyone in the carriage is worried about him in this weather and tells him to be careful. He goes to the Duke and finds a solution to the problem using his magic by turning the mud into stones and having the slimes move them aside, solving the problem quickly. The Duke thanks him for his help. Elise runs to him, saying she is happy and proud of him, praising his hard work. Ryuma feels happy being with them and finally feels the family atmosphere. After 3 more days, they reach the city without any further problems. He then enters his room, saying that this is Gemili City, a town famous for mining, and it is the first city he has visited in this new world. Ryuma feels happy. He mentions that although the city is known for its mines, the production from the mines decreases each year. One of Mr. Reinhardt's goals for this trip is to evaluate these mines and decide which ones will remain operational and which ones will be closed. Ryuma then goes to the castle with the Duke's family to obtain something called a data tablet, which is like an identification card with all his personal information. A woman takes him to a room with a tablet and a crystal, asking him to place his hand on it. Indeed, all his information appears on the tablet, revealing all his skills and attributes. He then goes out to the Duke's family, who are waiting for him outside. The grandfather says, "I have some advice for you this time, Ryuma. I hope you learn it from an old man with experience dealing with people. You must hide all your exceptional skills because you're a child, and no child in the world has all these abilities. This will make you very unique and people will want to exploit you for their own interests. There's only one way to avoid these problems. Hide your abilities from people. But looking at your skills, it's honestly hard to conceal them. That's why I suggest you join one of the big guilds and quickly rise through the ranks to elevate your status." Ryuma is puzzled and doesn't understand. Elise explains that his abilities are far beyond those of others his age and that he is clearly a child with exceptional talents. Therefore, many people will indeed want to exploit his remarkable skills, so he must be very cautious. At that moment, Elia also looks at Ryoma with admiration and asks about his magical capacity. He tells her it's 198,000. She is even more astonished and asks how he manages to control magic with such high capacity, saying she has 200,000 but cannot control magic at all. Ryoma is surprised by her magical capacity and learns that she descends from a very skilled magician. Elia then asks Ryoma to teach her how to control magic. He explains the logical way he learned magic, and everyone is amazed as usual, as he is the first to think of this excellent logic. After that, they leave the castle and head to the Tamers Guild. Ryoma and Elia register at the guild, but the grandfather says that unfortunately, Ryoma won't be able to advance in this guild because they rank tamers based on the rank of the monsters they tame, and Ryoma specializes in slimes, making it hard for him to advance here. The grandfather then suggests they go quickly to the Adventurers Guild, which is more suitable for Ryoma. He believes Ryoma will advance rapidly there. They go there, and Ryoma needs to pass a combat test to register in the guild. The whole family watches Ryoma and cheers him on during the test. The test involves hitting targets with arrows. The supervisor, a stern-looking person who is also an acquaintance of the family, oversees the test. He instructs Ryoma to hit the targets. Ryoma uses his archery skill and hits all targets with great precision and speed, astonishing everyone with his skill. They didn't expect Ryoma to be so proficient in combat as well. The next test involves moving targets, specifically flying discs. The person who created this test was someone like Ryoma who came from another world and made a shotgun. Ryoma starts the test and hits all the targets with high accuracy, shocking everyone as usual. Suddenly, the supervisor throws a knife at Ryoma, but Ryoma deflects it and swiftly attacks the supervisor. The supervisor, surprised, says the test is over. Ryoma stops and apologizes for his sudden reaction. The supervisor laughs and says it's fine, he just wanted to see Ryoma's reaction. He's impressed and tells Ryoma he is excellent. He was curious about who the Duke's family was so interested in, hence the surprise test. It turns out the supervisor is the guild master himself. They then go to the office, and the guild master tells Ryoma that he is now an adventurer of rank G. He can advance to the highest rank, which is S. The guild master also tells him that he can now check the tasks available at the guild and complete them as he wishes. Ryoma goes downstairs, meets a receptionist who explains that he can take any task within his level, and shows him the G-rank board. Ryoma thanks her and takes a house cleaning task since he can use his slimes, making the task very easy. The next day, Ryoma gathers all his slimes and sets off for the task. The Duke's family bids him farewell and wishes him luck. He arrives at the house where he will complete the task. A cat person appears, asking if he is really there to clean. Ryoma is surprised by the awful smell coming from the house. He introduces himself, and she tells him her name is Mia, thanking him for coming. Ryoma understands that there's a lot of garbage in the basement due to a waste dump. He uses his waste slime first to eat all the trash, then uses his clean slime to tidy the place. He also uses earth magic to seal the wall. In the end, he finishes the task in just a few hours with ease. Mia is astonished and can't believe what she sees. Ryoma asks her opinion about the place. Mia cries with joy and thanks him profusely for everything he has done. Ryoma is very happy to see Mia's joy and tells her the task is finished. She agrees, signs the task completion form, and bids Ryoma farewell. He leaves and returns happily to the Adventurers Guild to report his success. The receptionist is very surprised by his task completion. Ryoma tells her it's nothing special. She then gives him a reward, and Ryoma is surprised, saying it's quite a lot. The receptionist explains that it's appropriate and that Mia even requested to increase his pay. Ryoma insists it's still a lot, but the receptionist makes him sign for the task completion and the reward. The guild master calls Ryoma into his room and asks if he cleaned Mia's house well. Ryoma confirms, surprised that the guild master knows Mia. The guild master explains that Mia is also an adventurer, and he never imagined anyone could clean her basement. Ryoma explains he managed it with the help of his slimes and a bit of magic. The guild master then says they need his expertise for another task. Ryoma guesses it's about the public toilets. The guild master is surprised and asks how Ryoma knows. Ryoma explains he saw it on the task board. The guild master says there's no need to explain the task further but mentions the government requested it. The problem started when the government stopped paying for cleaning services. Ryoma recalls hearing about the city's reduced income. Ryoma mentions the decline in steel mines production, and the guild master confirms it, explaining that the city tried to cut costs, leading to the current situation. Ryoma assures the guild master that he's ready to work and will start tomorrow. The guild master thanks him and promises a good pay. Ryoma suggests informing the duke about these issues, believing the duke can solve them. The guild master is curious why Ryoma thought of that. Ryoma explains that the duke's family welcomed and helped him without any obligation. The guild master agrees to try informing the duke. In the evening, Ryoma meets with the duke's family and explains the situation. The duke is very upset, calls the head servant, and questions the government office's report on city expenses. He suspects embezzlement and asks for an investigation. The duke thanks Ryoma for uncovering these crimes. The grandfather says such crimes are unforgivable. The family is visibly upset and explains to Ryoma that the public toilets were created for comfort and as a source of income for those in need of work. The next morning, Ryoma goes to the public toilets to complete the task. The smell is indeed terrible. He distributes his slimes and starts cleaning. After hours of hard work, he makes the place spotless. He notices his slimes are multiplying and discovers a waste swamp. Ryoma rushes to the Adventurers Guild to report his findings and coincidentally meets the duke's family there, gathering information from the guild master. Ryoma explains the problem, mentioning the swamp hasn't spread yet. Elise first checks if Ryoma is okay. He reassures her, saying he cleaned himself thoroughly and didn't bring any contamination. Elise clarifies they were worried about his well-being. Ryoma is touched that they care about him. The guild master explains that the contamination is harmful, affecting people physically and mentally if the toilets are as polluted as Ryoma described. Ryoma insists on handling the task and caring for anyone affected by the contamination. The guild master asks if Ryoma will continue despite knowing the dangers. Ryoma confirms, saying they must eliminate the pollution at its source. He asks the guild master to ensure no one enters the area until it's completely purified. Elia is worried and asks if it's too dangerous for Ryoma. The grandfather suggests leaving it to the workforce. Ryoma appreciates their concern but doesn't want others to get involved and risk illness from the pollution. He asks to handle the task alone with his slimes. Elise asks if he only needs the slimes, meaning he can stay outside. Ryoma explains that he must assist in large areas like walls and ceilings. He shows them his skill tablet to reassure them he's capable of handling it. Ryoma resumes the task, with a team of adventurers guarding him. While working, Elise and Elia bring him food and potions, worried about him. Even the Duke and his men are working to find a solution, and the guild master is anxious about Ryoma. Adventurers Jeff and Mia are also concerned, telling Ryoma to take a break. Ryoma thanks them but insists on finishing the task quickly to prevent further harm. They are amazed by him. Ryoma continues working swiftly and finally completes the task. Everyone is happy for him. Ryoma returns to the guild to report task completion, and the guild master praises him, promising a substantial reward. Ryoma heads home, looking forward to rest, realizing it's already dawn. He recalls his previous life's exhaustion from work and his mother's welcome when he returned home tired. Returning home, Ryoma finds the family waiting for him. They welcome him warmly, surprising him. Overwhelmed with joy, he cries, feeling the family warmth he hasn't felt since his grandmother's time. Ryoma goes to his room to rest, feeling very happy to be in this world. At that moment, Elia and Elise were preparing food for Ryoma, along with the maids. Suddenly, the head butler said he would wake Ryoma up, and Elia thanked him. When Ryoma woke up and saw the amazing breakfast, he was very surprised and asked, "Did Lady Elia really wake up early to make all this food for me?" Elia replied, "Yes, but my mother and the others helped too." Hughes then commented, "She basically wants something from you, Ryoma." Embarrassed, Elia asked if he could play with magic to help her develop her skills as he promised. Ryoma responded, "Of course, I'll teach you as I promised." Then he asked, "Did you make all this food just for that?" She said yes. Ryoma then expressed his gratitude, saying, "I'm very grateful for this wonderful meal," and ate happily. Afterwards, Elia asked about the taste of the food. "Is it good?" He replied cheerfully, "It's delicious," which made Elia very happy, and she thanked him. Everyone started praising the food, but Hughes, being blunt, remarked, "How can meat and eggs taste good together?" which annoyed Elia and the other women. Hughes got scared and focused on his food quietly. Later, the head butler offered Ryoma some tea and asked if there was anything he wished to learn. Ryoma joyfully replied that he would love to learn some offensive magic techniques. Camille, the mage, said, "You've come to the right person. Leave it to me, Ryoma." Ryoma thanked him, and they went to a suitable training area. Ryoma asked Elia if she was good at fire and ice magic. She said yes, and Ryoma, surprised, commented, "Those are the two hardest types of magic. With ice magic, you can create ice sculptures, and with fire, you can make something like fireworks. He then suggested trying it out, thinking it might be challenging for her. He asked, "Aren't you good at water magic too?" She admitted she wasn't very strong in it but would give it a try. Ryoma showed her how to play with it, making water and air bubbles which looked beautiful. Elia was very happy with them. Elia then tried the magic like Ryoma and succeeded, but her bubbles burst quickly compared to Ryoma's, which puzzled her. Ryoma explained that he imagined the water as the slime's gooey liquid which made it last longer. Elia followed his advice and tried the magic again, and this time, she succeeded and was very happy with her success. Ryoma then showed them they could make a huge bubble and play with it. They all had fun playing with it together. After that, Ryoma wanted to show them something new and shaped the bubble into a fish that swam in the sky, leaving everyone truly amazed by the sight. Elia was very happy with her magical play lessons and thanked Ryoma sincerely for teaching her. Then Ryoma and Camille went to learn offensive magic techniques. Camille taught Ryoma all the magic he knew, but Ryoma learned it all very easily, leaving Camille unsure of what to teach next. The head butler decided to teach him some space magic, which made Ryoma very happy. Camille commented, "You're very lucky, Ryoma." Ryoma thanked the head butler. The head butler then asked if Ryoma knew any other space magic besides the box spell. Ryoma replied that he could also use teleportation magic. The head butler asked him to demonstrate it. Ryoma used his teleportation magic, impressing the head butler, who said, "You seem ready to learn spatial magic techniques like dimension and house warp." Ryoma was thrilled and asked if he was serious. The head butler confirmed, "Of course, all space magic tricks are similar. Don't worry." The head butler first taught him the dimension technique, which involves traveling with a mental image of the place. Ryoma successfully learned it and thanked the head butler. Next, he taught him the house warp technique, a more advanced version of the box spell, providing a much larger storage space. Ryoma practiced repeatedly until he mastered it but became very tired. He was overjoyed, saying, "Finally, I can store my slimes in it." He thanked the head butler. The head butler said it was all due to Ryoma's hard work and that he was very happy for him. He then suggested returning to Lady Elia as it was getting dark. Ryoma, absorbed in his training, hadn't noticed the time. They then returned together. The next day, they went to the abandoned northern geology mine. The goal was to teach Elia monster combat skills. The Duke told Ryoma and Elia that it was the duty of every noble to protect their land and citizens, hence why they needed to defend against bandits and monsters as soon as they appeared. Ryoma asked, "Even the ladies have to do this?" The Duke confirmed, "Of course, it's the duty of everyone born into the Duke's family." Elise explained that training in combat, various types of magic, etiquette, national education, and economic matters were all part of their responsibilities. Ryoma said he understood. Elia added, "That's why I'll be going to the royal capital soon." Ryoma thought about Elia going to the royal capital soon and felt sad about being alone. They then arrived at the mine, where Ryoma opened his dimensional space and released all his slimes. Hughes then asked Ryoma and Elia if they were ready, and they proceeded. The first monster appeared in the mine, and Elia was tasked with handling it. She used ice arrow magic to attack it but missed. The monster charged at them quickly, but she hit it with another arrow, finishing it off, and was very happy. Next, it was Ryoma's turn, but they encountered 4 monsters. The team wanted to handle the situation, but Ryoma said there was no problem and that he would take care of them. Elia wished him luck. Ryoma drew his swords, swiftly attacked the monsters, dodged their attacks, and defeated them all. The team and Elia were amazed by his skills and speed in defeating the monsters. Ryoma and Elia then defeated many more monsters, ultimately overcoming them. They decided to leave the cave when Elia noticed a metallic slime. She ran to catch it, trapping it in an ice barrier before it could escape. Elia then gave the metallic slime to Ryoma as a gift for teaching her magic play. Ryoma was happy and asked, "Are you sure?" She confirmed, and Ryoma was very grateful and thanked her. They then left and reported their findings to the Duke. The Duke decided it would be best to inform the guild about this mission. Afterward, Ryoma used alchemy magic on the red soil he noticed contained iron and successfully produced iron from it. Everyone was amazed by his genius talent. The Duke then said, "Ryoma, there's someone I want to introduce you to, but I forgot." Ryoma was surprised and the Duke took him to meet Mr. Renback from Morgan Trading Company. Ryoma showed Mr. Renback the iron he extracted from the soil. Mr. Renback examined it and was very impressed. He told Ryoma he was indeed a true alchemist. Ryoma then showed him everything he made, and Mr. Renback was very impressed. They agreed that Mr. Renback would start marketing all the products Ryoma produced. However, Ryoma insisted that the fact he was the one making all these things should remain a secret among them. Mr. Renback was puzzled and asked why. The Duke explained, "If it gets out that Ryoma is the one making all these amazing things and that he's a true alchemist, many people will seek to exploit him. Also, we want all the profits to go to Ryoma." Ryoma was shocked and said, "That's too much for me." The Duke insisted, "None of us need the money, and since you invented all this, it's your natural right." Ryoma thanked them and was very happy. Upon returning home, Ryoma experiments with the effects of attacks on the metal slime and discovers that nothing affects it except acid. Mia comes to Ryoma and calls out to him, bringing along the adventurer team. Jeff asks, "Are you ready to go?" Ryoma quickly descends, taking all the slimes in the spatial home, and Elia wishes him luck in hunting the monsters. Ryoma and the team arrive at the mines to hunt the monsters, with the guild master explaining that the creatures inside are mantises, bats, and small rats, and there are many of them inside, which is the problem. So, they must be very cautious. The adventurers enter the mine, and Jeff tells Ryoma, "I heard you were promoted to rank F, right?" Ryoma replies, "Yes, my last job was enough to qualify me for the promotion." Jeff says, "Don't worry, if you do a good job in monster hunting, you will be promoted to rank E." The adventurers split into two teams. Along the way, Mia asks Ryoma, "How many slimes do you have?" He replies, 728 sticky slimes, 323 poisonous slimes, 211 acidic slimes, 3033 garbage slimes, 11 pure slimes, 2 healing slimes, 1 metal slime, and 1 regular slime. In total, 4,310 slimes. Everyone is very impressed by the number of monsters Ryoma has tamed. Willana then asks, "What weapons can you use?" He replies, "I mostly fight with a bow, but I can also use daggers or fight unarmed, and I know a bit of offensive magic." She says, "So, you can focus on the flying monsters with your offensive magic. You are the only one who can use offensive magic in the team." Mia adds, "I can also use it, but my magical capacity is very low." The rabbit girl says she can't use it at all. Suddenly, Mia senses the monsters coming and alerts the team to prepare. At that moment, 3 mantises attack them, but the team quickly eliminates them. They are frustrated because the task is too easy since the monsters are just mantises and small rats. Mia, however, is relieved and tells them, "We would be in trouble if a large number of strong monsters attacked us suddenly. Let's keep it this way for now." As they continue, Willana smells a very large number of bats in the cave. Ryoma comes up with an idea to get rid of all the bats at once and tells the team. They agree, saying if he can do it, it would be great. Ryoma tries his idea, using a sound bomb while creating a sound barrier to protect himself and his friends from the magic. After the attack, the team approaches the monsters and finds all the bats in the room dead, with their numbers very large. His friends praise him. Ryoma then makes his slime grow larger and eat all the monsters at once. The team continues hunting monsters in the mine and later takes a break. Outside, they notice the guild master and all the adventurers gathered with concern. The receptionist says the situation is urgent and dangerous. The guild master explains that a team encountered a group of goblins in the mines, and from the information gathered, there might be a large goblin village with more than 500 monsters inside. The adventurers are shocked, and Ryoma says they need to eliminate all these monsters quickly before the problem grows bigger. The guild master decides they need to start a goblin purge operation immediately. They learn that the goblin village is deep in the mine, and the first step to attacking the goblins is to spread the adventurers throughout the mine to prevent the goblins from escaping. The operation begins. Mia and the rabbit girl enter the mine, drawing the goblins' attention, then quickly escape, luring them to a specific area. At this moment, Ryoma sets a trap, causing all the monsters to fall into the acidic slime, quickly eliminating them. The team finishes off any escaping goblins with arrows. This is how the adventurers cooperate to defeat the goblins. They notice there are over 1,000 goblins, too many to count. The adventurers face a problem. They are running out of arrows, and there are still many monsters. Ryoma decides to handle all the goblins with his slimes. He attacks them with the slimes and uses a sound bomb, telling the adventurers to quickly retreat and cover their ears. Ryoma and the adventurers successfully defeat the goblins. The adventurers find around 2,000 goblins in total. After thinking they have won, the goblin leader suddenly appears with a group of evolved goblins. Ryoma quickly acts, sending his slimes to attack the goblins and saving the situation. They complete the mission, and Ryoma gathers his team, having the cleaning slime clean them before they leave the mine. Ryoma's friends can't believe they got rid of the goblin filth they thought would never come off. They think they will have to throw away their ruined clothes because of the dirt and foul smell. Outside the mine, researcher Liben is astonished by the healing slime's ability to heal the wounded. He tells Ryoma that the healing capacity of the slime has become very high. Ryoma is surprised and says, "This is an unexpected development." Liben explains it might be due to their frequent use of healing on the wounded, which is very useful now. Adventurers gather around Ryoma, thanking him for saving them and helping defeat the goblins in the mine. They are very impressed by his ability to control all these slimes alone. His friends watch as people thank him, feeling happy. They say he is just a kid but a fully capable adventurer for sure. The guild master gathers all the adventurers, thanking them for completing the big mission. He tells them they will receive a significant bonus on their rewards, making all the adventurers extremely happy. In the evening, Ryoma returns with his friends to town. They ask him many questions about the slimes, what they eat, everything about them, and how they are so strong despite being weak monsters. Later, Ryoma approaches Jeff and says, "I'll take over from here. You can rest now. You must be very tired from the journey and the constant focus." Jeff tells him not to worry about him and rest as well, as he must be very tired from all the effort he put in today. Ryoma says, "Yes, I didn't expect there to be so many goblins." Jeff replies, "We should have prepared better for this mission, but these are the circumstances. I will continue driving the cart. You can rest now, don't worry about me." Ryoma thanks him and rests as Jeff suggested, thinking how happy he is to have come to this world where everyone is so kind to him, unlike his previous life. Ryoma reaches home and says goodbye to his friends before entering the house to sit with the family, telling them everything that happened in his adventure. The family thanks him for his hard work. Ryoma says there is something else he wants to discuss with them. He tells them he has finally decided what he wants to do. He says he cannot thank them enough for helping him all this time, but he plans to become independent and rely on himself from now on. Ryoma announces his decision to live independently, shocking Lise and the family. They ask him why he wants to leave, and he explains that if he continues to rely on them for everything, he won't become a good person. He appreciates that they allowed him to join them on this journey, the guild, and the registration, and acknowledges that he has become a competent adventurer thanks to them. However, he feels spoiled and wants to take a step back. The family is saddened by his decision, and the Duke's men eavesdrop at the door. When the maids ask them what they're doing, Hughes tells them to be quiet so he can hear better. Lise asks Ryoma if he plans to leave forever. Ryoma assures them that he loves them all very much and only wants to train himself properly again as he started to feel comfortable. Lise tells him that as long as that's the case, he shouldn't worry. Elia asks her mother why she isn't stopping him from leaving. Lise responds that just as Elia wants to go to the capital, Ryoma also needs a chance to grow. She admits that it might not be necessary because Ryoma is still only 11 years old and deserves some pampering. The Duke reminds Lise that they discussed this before, and she acknowledges but still has concerns. Ryoma and Elia don't understand what's going on and ask them to explain. The grandfather says they expected this day to come when Ryoma would want to live on his own. They've seen many children like him before. Ryoma is surprised, and the head butler explains that from the moment Ryoma arrived in the unfamiliar city, he registered at the guilds and worked diligently, which isn't normal for his age. They anticipated this conversation, but it happened sooner than they expected. The grandfather reassures Ryoma that they won't stop him but advises him not to overexert himself, as too much effort can be harmful. To agree to his request, they have a few conditions. First, he must update them regularly by letter. Second, he must visit them occasionally so they can ensure he's doing well. Third, he should never hesitate to ask for help. Ryoma happily agrees to their conditions. Elia tells Ryoma she's very sad about his departure but will respect his decision and adds her own condition that they meet every 3 years, as she will graduate in 6 years and will have a long break after 3 years. Ryoma agrees to her request, making the family happy. Lise then adds that while he's still in the city, he should stay at the hotel as long as he wants. Ryoma starts to object, but Lise firmly tells him they've made their decision, and that's final. Feeling tense, Ryoma agrees and asks how long they will stay in the city. They tell him until the grill frogs appear, surprising Ryoma, who asks if they use their skin for weapon crafting. The grandfather confirms and adds that their internal organs are used for medicine. They appear in large numbers near a nearby lake every year. Ryoma asks if they plan to use them for combat training, but the grandfather explains the primary goal is the lemur birds that gather at the same time. Ryoma, unfamiliar with these birds, sees them in Elia's books and is impressed by their beautiful feathers. Lise tells him their song is also lovely and they're highly sought after because they fly very fast, making them difficult to catch. Elia mentions that during their gathering, they cover the lake, and Ryoma gets excited to see this beautiful sight. The family insists he must join them at the lake. Ryoma gladly agrees to go with them and Elia is also excited. The Duke asks Ryoma what he means by living alone. Ryoma explains that he wants to live as an adventurer in the city, build relationships with people, train well, and start his own business. He thinks about offering a laundry service using his cleaning slimes, which can even clean demon filth. At that moment, the Duke's men and maids enter, telling Ryoma it's a great idea. The grandfather scolds them for eavesdropping, but Hughes insists they didn't mean to and Camille interrupts, denying it was his fault. A maid tells Ryoma the laundry service would be very successful. Another maid adds that adventurers often discard their equipment when it becomes filthy from monsters, so Ryoma could make a lot of money if he can clean it. The head butler agrees with them, and the grandfather decides to discuss the idea with the merchant from Morgan Trading Company to help them. The Duke asks Ryoma if he can do them a favor while staying in the city. Ryoma asks what it is, and the Duke requests that he oversee the abandoned mines occasionally to prevent monsters from settling there. Ryoma agrees, finding it easy, and realizes that even while being independent, he still receives their support. He thanks them for always helping him and is grateful for having people who care about him. The next day, Ryoma goes with Elia to Morgan Trading Company to discuss his project. The company president is impressed with the idea and amazed by the cleaning slime's ability to clean even demon filth. He tells Ryoma his ideas are always incredible. The president sees the project's success already and suggests Ryoma register with the trade guild, which would suit him well. He predicts that the cleaning service will be very profitable. The president offers to help Ryoma register immediately, saying it won't be a hassle since they're practically family now. They head to the guild, and on the way, the president promises to support Ryoma's project as much as possible, making Elia excited as well. At the guild, Ryoma introduces himself to the guild master, Jealous, and expresses his desire to register. Jealous asks if he's planning to offer a cleaning service, and he confirms. Jealous accuses the president of Morgan Trading Company of registering to avoid taxes and fines due to high profits, which he acknowledges and presents the idea. Jealous tells Ryoma she likes his thinking, finds the idea excellent, and allows him to register. The president asks to secure a shop location, and Jealous reluctantly shows them a map of a notable shop with some issues but offers it at a very low price. They visit the shop, finding a large, ruined building that was once an inn and warehouse before a fire destroyed it. Ryoma sees on the map that the shop is in a residential area close to the Adventurers Guild and industrial area, making it a perfect location. He decides to buy the place. The president assures Ryoma he'll handle the paperwork and confirms he'll lend him some of his professional staff to help start the project, aiding in managing it. Ryoma begins cleaning and rebuilding the shop with the help of his friends and the Duke's men, finishing the preparations. Elia suggests adding natural scenery around the shop, like flowers and herbs, which Ryoma loves and agrees to. They implement the idea and return home. On the way, Ryoma thinks about hosting a grand opening for the shop. At home, Ryoma tells Duke's family that he decided to hold an opening for his store, so he hopes everyone will attend the party. He also invites the head of the Adventurers Guild, his adventurer friends, and the lady from the Merchants Guild. Everyone is happy and assures him they will definitely come. Later, Mr. Rinback and his children are in the carriage on their way to Ryoma's store opening, and they are amazed by everything, even the store's name. Inside the store, Ryoma and the two maids are preparing the food for the party, and Elia is also helping. Ryoma thanks them afterward for their help. At this moment, Mr. Rinback and his children enter the store, and the children think Ryoma is related to Duke's family, but their father clarifies that this is not the case. Ryoma then comes in, welcomes them, and introduces himself. Duke introduces the two boys to Ryoma, explaining they are his new assistants. Ryoma welcomes them and introduces himself to them. Mr. Rinback mentions that although they are young, they managed one of his best branches, the Loyam branch. Ryoma then takes them inside to explain how the store operates. He shows them special bags and explains that customers need to buy these bags first to put their dirty clothes in. These bags come in different sizes and can be reused as many times as they want. He tells them about the pricing, where the bag price varies according to its size. Afterward, they take the money in the laundry, giving the customers a receipt which they will need to collect their clean clothes later. The dirty clothes are placed on a shelf in a room where the cleaning slime will take and clean them thoroughly. Ryoma asks them if they have heard of the cleaning slime before. They say Mr. Rinback mentioned it briefly. Ryoma then takes them to see the cleaning process firsthand. The cleaning slime washes the clothes, the metal slime irons them, and the sticky slime folds them and puts them in the correct place according to the receipts. The two brothers are very impressed by what they see. Ryoma asks if they have any further questions, and they say not at the moment. They then leave, and Ryoma wonders if they are not satisfied with handling the reception and laundry tasks. After all, they were excellent managers in the trade. Ryoma shows them the rest of the store details, including all places and their living quarters. Later, all of Ryoma's friends arrive, and Ryoma asks Clara and Cole to help with the party. They agree, and everyone is very happy with the party Ryoma organized. Ryoma gives a speech thanking everyone for coming and supporting him, and everyone claps and is happy for him. The next morning, Ryoma is very anxious that there might not be many customers on the first day. Clara and Cole greet Ryoma, and everyone starts working in the store. Ryoma then goes to the Adventurers Guild to inform them that the store is officially open. As soon as Ryoma enters the guild, everyone knows about his laundry service. He asks how they found out, and they tell him that Mia and Walana came early and put up posters everywhere. Ryoma then takes a task to collect herbs and submits it to Mylene for registration. Mylene asks if he is sure he wants to continue working as an adventurer now that he has his own business. He says he will see how it goes and laughs. He then heads to the abandoned mines as Duke instructed and starts inspecting and managing them, dealing with any monsters he encounters. He then checks on the slimes he tasked with gathering herbs. They have finished, so he submits the herbs to the guild and collects his reward, returning to the store. But to his surprise, the store is packed with customers. He rushes in to help Clara and Cole, and they all work quickly. The customers are very pleased with the service. They close the store at the end of the day, and Ryoma thanks the team for their hard work. Ryoma worries because Clara and Cole haven't had any rest since the morning. He's concerned they might suffer from work exhaustion as he did in his previous life. He tells them he will hire new staff to ease the workload in the store. He asks what they think about hiring 4 more people. Clara says it would be excellent because the store's future fame will bring even more work. Cole adds that the Merchants Guild will probably also task them with important guild work. Ryoma thanks them and rushes to the Merchants Guild, telling them to rest well after counting the store's sales. At the guild, Gillis asks how the work went today. Ryoma says it went so well they were swamped with work. Gillis says it looks like he is here to hire new staff. Ryoma says she is very perceptive, and she replies that all her years of experience make her so. She reassures him not to worry. She will gather a group of suitable people, and he can choose whoever he likes. Ryoma thanks her and returns home. He tells the family all about the store's first day success. Duke says it was indeed a great success. Ryoma says he wants to ensure customer satisfaction so they come back again and again. Elia tells him not to worry, everything will be fine. She is sure of it. Duke then tells Ryoma he should visit the town guard. Ryoma is puzzled and asks why. Duke explains that the place is full of men who will need their dirty clothes cleaned, providing a steady income source. Ryoma understands and thanks him for the advice. Ryoma goes to his room to rest, but Elia calls him and wishes him good night. He goes to bed feeling happy and content. In the following days, the customers kept filling the shop, and they were completely satisfied and very happy with the cleanliness of their items. Then, Ryoma went to the merchant guild and met with Jill. She told him, I gathered the candidates who can handle the accounts, and you will surely find someone who can start working with you today. Ryoma thanked her, and she replied, no need to thank me. Everyone has to do their part. Just as adventurers go to the Adventurers Guild, work comes to the Merchant Guild. Ryoma then met the employees Jill had gathered. They were all very surprised and asked, who is this young boy? Is he the guild master's grandson or something? Jill had gathered a large number of people. Ryoma welcomed them all and said, I am the owner of Bamboo Laundry Services, and my name is Ryoma. Everyone was shocked to hear that such a young boy owned a shop. After Ryoma explained everything about the shop to the people, many of them left. Ryoma said to the remaining ones, since you are still here, you don't mind working with me, right? He then asked the two who stayed, can you tell me your names and if you have any conditions? The older man said, I am Faye, and this is my daughter, Lee. It would be great if you hired us, but I have a problem you should know about. My leg is broken and it might cause issues with the work. Ryoma thought that his healing slime could fix it quickly and told them, no problem at all. He then asked if they had any salary requirements. Faye replied, as long as we can live comfortably, there are no issues. Ryoma then asked Lee, do you have any demands? She said, if possible, could we live at the workplace or in a cheap house nearby? Ryoma told them, no problem, we have dorms for our employees. Faye and Lee were delighted. Ryoma then noticed their strength and the weapons they carried. Faye and Lee, and even Jill, were surprised by his keen observation. Faye said, what kind of expert are you, manager? As you can see, we are former assassins. Ryoma was surprised, and Faye explained, it's not what you think. That was a long time ago. Faye and Lee then shared their story with Ryoma. Ryoma asked, when can you start working with me? They were surprised he accepted them after learning their past. Ryoma said, if the guild master thinks you're suitable, there's no problem accepting you. Faye and Lee admitted they had planned to escape if discovered. Ryoma told them, there's no need to run. I really need your help. They happily agreed to start immediately. Ryoma asked them to also serve as guards for the place, which they gladly accepted. Ryoma took them to the shop, and Faye said, is this your shop? Ryoma confirmed, yes. Lee said, this is a beautiful and very popular place. Are you sure you just opened yesterday? Let's start working quickly. I can carry the dirty clothes. Ryoma thanked them and said, don't overexert yourselves, that's what matters most to me. Ryoma, Faye, and Lee entered the shop, and he told Clara and Cole, I finally brought help. They welcomed him and introduced Faye and Lee. Ryoma told Faye to help with reception alongside Clara and Cole, while Lee would help carry the clothes. They assisted quickly and smoothly completed the work. At the end of the day, Ryoma thanked everyone for their hard work and asked Clara and Cole to calculate the day's profits. He took Faye and Lee with him and healed Faye's leg with his healing slime. Faye's leg was fully healed, and he was very happy and thanked Ryoma for his help. Ryoma then showed them their rooms, and they found them excellent, comfortable, and beautiful. When they returned to the shop, Clara handed Ryoma the day's accounts. He thanked her and was amazed that the earnings were much higher than the first day. Cole said, if news of our excellent services spreads more, the profits will be even greater. He continued, as you know, this is a mining town. Although mining has decreased recently, there are still many miners and steel mill workers. We might also get requests from other towns. This way, we can expand the shop and open new branches in other cities. Ryoma replied, isn't it too early to talk about that? Cole enthusiastically said, not at all. Ryoma said, okay, I'll keep that in mind. Ryoma then told Clara and Cole that Faye and Lee had a military background, so they would also be responsible for guarding the place. He said to add this task to their salary. Faye and Lee were very happy and thanked him. Thus, the second day of the shop's operation ended peacefully. The next day, Ryoma met with Elia and asked, are you practicing magic today as well? She said, if you want me to help with any work. He replied, no, fortunately, I hired other helpers at the shop. Don't worry. Ryoma thanked her and left. He went to the shop, and as usual, it was filled with customers from the start of the day, and everyone was working hard. As a reward for their efforts, Ryoma decided to make them pizza. He scheduled breaks at different times for them to rest and eat, and they were very happy with the delicious pizza. Thus, the third workday ended smoothly. Ryoma reviewed the third day's sales and found them to be 1.5 times higher than the second day. Everyone was delighted, and Lee said the business would grow much bigger in the future. Ryoma thought about hiring new employees and suggested the idea to Clara and Cole. Clara said, that's a wise decision, and Cole said, the guild will surely help us as always. Ryoma said he also wanted to hire a cook and asked if the merchant guild could help with that too. But why do you want a cook? They asked. Ryoma explained, everyone is busy with work, and usually there's an employee who takes care of that. We need to eat too, and it would be great if the food tasted good, right? Ryoma went to Jill to get new employees. She welcomed him, and they talked for a while. She then asked how many employees he needed. He said, 3, and a cook for the employees' meals. On the third day, Jill brought him the 3 employees, Fina, Maria, and Jean. Everyone was happy with the agreement, and the three were amazed at how young Ryoma was as the shop owner. Jill then introduced Selma, the cook, to Ryoma. Selma said she had worked in excellent hotels before, and everyone agreed to work with Ryoma and stay in the shop's accommodation. Jill told Ryoma, if things continue to go well, what do you think about opening a branch in another city? Let's talk about this when you have time. Ryoma said it was still early for that, but she insisted, this is the right time, don't worry. They returned to the shop, and a week passed by with excellent operations. The clients, employees, and everyone were very happy, and everything was going well. The Duke's family visited the shop and observed Ryoma from a distance, feeling very proud of him. The Duke said, Ryoma always exceeds our expectations. Ryoma noticed them and warmly welcomed them. After that, Ryoma goes to Mr. Reinbach and asks him about the state of his shop. Mr. Reinbach responds that the shop is excellent since he gave him his 2 assistants and also hired new employees to make the management of the shop easier and better. Mr. Reinbach is very happy and says that it's great. Ryoma then tells him that the problem now is that business is going so well that he's starting to get worried. Mr. Reinbach says that he brought him here today because there's a new business opportunity. Ryoma is surprised and asks what it is. Mr. Reinbach explains that Ryoma has been supplying them with slime thread and waterproof fabric regularly. Now, he asks if Ryoma can supply large quantities of these materials. Ryoma is confused, so Mr. Reinbach explains that they are entering the season of the frog outbreak. Ryoma acknowledges this, and Mr. Reinbach continues by saying that they use the frog's skin to make armor and medicine from their internal organs. This attracts many adventurers to the lake during this season, which means waterproof clothes and boots will be in high demand. Ryoma agrees to start producing these items immediately, making Mr. Reinbach very happy and thankful. Later, Ryoma is at home feeding his slime iron powder. Elia is surprised and asks why he's doing that. Ryoma says he feeds it in hopes it will turn into an iron slime. He asks her opinion on this experiment. Elia understands and asks if he's making the waterproof fabric in the cave. Ryoma confirms, saying it's the perfect place to avoid disturbance. Elia offers to join him, and Ryoma agrees but warns her it might be tiring. They go to the cave, and Elia starts practicing her violin, explaining that she wants to train here because she can practice freely. Ryoma is surprised to learn about her talent and asks why she likes playing the violin. Elia explains that she wants to attract the lemur birds to the lake, knowing that music is key to taming them. Ryoma is confused, so Elia explains that lemur birds communicate through music. If they like their music, they'll agree to the taming contract. Ryoma realizes this for the first time, and Elia encourages him to continue making fabrics while she practices. Ryoma and the slime enjoy her music a lot. Ryoma finishes making the fabrics and sits with Elia, who praises his quick work. He returns the compliment about her music but notes the fabrics need time to dry. They decide to play together while waiting, which makes Elia very happy. Ryoma then makes a stone figurine of Elia, who is very impressed and grateful. She happily takes it, and Ryoma makes figurines of the rest of the family as well. At home, the family sees the figurines and is delighted. Ryoma says he's glad they like the small figures. Elise thanks him, saying he's always amazing. The Duke suggests Elia take the figurines to school to feel less lonely, which makes her very happy. She asks Ryoma to make a figurine of himself, which embarrasses him, but he agrees. The next day, Ryoma inspects the shop, finding everything running smoothly as usual. Seeing the shop running well without him, he goes back to the cave to make more fabric. While waiting for the fabric to finish, he trains in combat with the slimes as he used to. He trains the slimes in combat too. After training, he finds that the slime-eating iron powder has turned into a metallic slime. Ryoma is thrilled that his idea worked but notices slight differences from a normal metallic slime. He evaluates it and discovers it's an iron slime, formed from eating iron. Ryoma then tests the soil and finds that slimes eating various metals turn into metallic slimes, while those eating only iron become iron slimes. He's happy to have discovered the secret to their transformations. At the end of the day, Ryoma returns to the shop, greeted by Fina. He then notices the cleaning slimes have doubled in number, surprising Fina. Ryoma assures her that cleaning will be more effective now. Ryoma goes out to the other employees, finding them gathered around a sales report. Clara tells him they made 3 times yesterday's profit, astonishing everyone. Ryoma is puzzled by the sudden success. He thanks the employees, attributing the success to their hard work. Cole says it's their duty to work hard. Ryoma asks if anyone has problems, but they laugh, saying they couldn't find any issues even if they tried. Ryoma suddenly realizes he forgot to give them vacations, feeling guilty for being so neglectful. Fai asks why he looks so worried, and Ryoma apologizes for forgetting their vacations. The employees are confused, asking about vacations. One employee asks if they should create a schedule for their days off, and Ryoma confirms, saying it should be clear. Ryoma suggests closing the shop 1 day a week or rotating vacations, surprising everyone with joy. Ryoma is confused by their reaction. Clara explains that vacations are uncommon among employers. She tells Ryoma that workers usually get low wages and no vacations. If they miss a day, their pay is docked. Ryoma reassures them that this won't happen in his shop. He wants everyone to be comfortable and work with love for the place. The cook announces the food is ready, and everyone goes to eat. Later, Ryoma visits the Adventurers Guild and meets Mylene. She welcomes him, asking if he's there for guild business. Ryoma confirms, saying his employees can manage the shop without him, so there's no problem. He then looks for a suitable mission on the board. Mylene calls him over, saying she has a mission he might like. She explains that a group of adventurers from outside the city, called Seacom Port, claims to have caught a rare slime. Ryoma is excited and asks for details. Mylene explains that the group tried selling the slime to the Tamers Guild, but they refused. Ryoma is surprised, asking if the slime is still for sale. Mylene confirms and asks if he's interested. Ryoma eagerly agrees, asking where they are. He goes to the place, finding it seemingly abandoned. Feeling uneasy, he enters and notices the adventurers. He approaches and introduces himself, but one of them rudely belittles him. The group's leader apologizes for his friend's behavior, and Ryoma assures them it's fine, understanding their frustration. The leader explains they couldn't sell the slime. The rude adventurer angrily grabs Ryoma by the clothes, accusing him of mocking them. He then falls and cries, calling them fools. His friends take him outside. The leader, named Shin, introduces himself and his teammate Kai. Shin asks why Ryoma wants the slime. Ryoma says he collects and studies slimes and would buy it if it's a rare breed. Kai is curious and asks why. Ryoma explains he studies slimes and would love to add a rare breed to his collection. Shin is pleased, saying it would be great if Ryoma bought it. Ryoma asks the price, but Shin tells him to name it since the Tamers Guild said it has no value, so they can't price it. Ryoma asks to see the slime, agreeing to buy it if it's a type he doesn't have. Kai brings the slime, and Ryoma opens the container to find a strange red liquid. He's intrigued, thinking he's never seen such a slime before. Shin asks for his opinion, and Ryoma agrees to buy it. He gives them 2 gold coins, shocking them. Kai asks if he's sure. Ryoma confirms, grateful for acquiring a new slime breed. He thanks them, takes the slime, and leaves, informing them about the frog season and how to profit from it. They thank him for the advice. Ryoma then goes to the abandoned mines to release and study the slime. He tries a taming contract, which succeeds. He evaluates the slime, finding it to be a blood slime with the skill to suck blood, which Ryoma finds very useful in battles. Later, Ryoma sits with Elia, who says her family will teach her taming magic tomorrow. She asks if he wants to learn with her, and Ryoma eagerly agrees, excited and happy. The next day, the whole family goes to a suitable place, and Elise asks Elia and Ryoma if they know anything about taming magic. Elia tells her that taming magic is about communicating with the monster in the right way to establish a good bond between the tamer and the beasts. Elise says, yes, exactly, and today we'll learn shared sensory magic. Ryoma looks confused, so Elise explains that through shared senses, it becomes easier to get information from the monsters, and you can let them know if you're in danger or not. The Duke adds, this magic is specific to taming and hard to use with summoning magic. Ryoma is still confused, so the Duke explains that summoning beasts form just one bond, which makes it very difficult. The grandfather adds that for a tamer to benefit from shared senses, they need to have a lot of experience, and of course, it depends on how long you've spent with your beasts. But today, you'll be training with birds. Elia is surprised and asks, so we won't be training with the slimes we have? Elise responds, with slimes, we can't really determine the effectiveness of this magic. The Duke adds that even if you shared your senses with a slime, there wouldn't be any sight, sound, smell, or taste to share. Elise then says, come on now, like good students, communicate with the birds. They release the birds, and Ryoma manages to connect with one right away, followed closely by Elia. Elise tells them the next step is to share senses. You don't need to recite any spell. You just need to focus on linking yourself with your bird. Ryoma and Elia are confused at first, but Ryoma tries, concentrating hard. Elise explains that the idea is to imagine the mental picture the bird sees. Ryoma thinks to himself that it's like a surveillance camera or a virtual reality system. He attempts again and succeeds, though he feels disgusted by the view. Elise, the Duke, and the grandfather are surprised, and the Duke tells Ryoma, you're impressive as always. Ryoma says, I guess I succeeded since I can see myself through the bird's eyes. The grandfather replies, excellent. This magic is supposed to be difficult to learn. The Duke assures Ryoma not to worry, saying, the disgust you felt is normal. Everyone who uses this magic experiences it. Just try closing your eyes and focus only on what the bird sees. Ryoma follows the instructions and finds that things are much better. Elia, however, still finds it strange and difficult. Ryoma thinks to himself that it was easy for him because he imagined the surveillance cameras from his past life, which helped him grasp the idea quickly. Meanwhile, Elia is starting from scratch, as she has no background in this. Suddenly, Ryoma's bird takes flight, and he's thrilled by the view from the sky. After some more training, everyone takes a break and drinks tea, and we learn that both Ryoma and Elia have mastered the sensory magic for taming in the end. The grandfather praises their excellent performance. The Duke remarks that he thought this would be the one thing that might challenge Ryoma, but as always, Ryoma surprised everyone. Elise tells Ryoma, "This is your first time connecting with monsters, right?" Ryoma replies, "Yes, it is." She asks, "Do you feel anything strange?" Ryoma says, "Not really." Elise then tells him, "You have a talent for handling bird-type creatures, which is truly impressive." Ryoma is puzzled and asks what she means. The Duke explains that every tamer has a natural talent for taming certain types of monsters. Ryoma says that he's sure he has an excellent affinity with slimes. The Duke responds, "Of course, if you didn't, you wouldn't have tamed so many." The grandfather tells Ryoma that knowing your suitable type makes you a remarkable and skilled tamer, and that experience is the only way to become a master. Ryoma asks, "And what about you, sir? What's your specialty?" The grandfather replies that he's excellent with reptiles. "I can't tame many, but at least I can handle one, though it's a very strong one." The Duke adds that he can tame any four-legged beast but struggles with bird-type creatures. Ryoma then glances at Elise, and suddenly, a very powerful monster appears, making Ryoma nervous. Elise reassures him and apologizes for startling him, explaining that the beast is Lorg, her tamed monster. Ryoma asks, "Isn't that a legendary monster?" Elise tells him that it's a Fenrir. Ryoma responds, "Isn't that the same thing?" Elise clarifies, "A Fenrir is a legendary creature, but mine is still young. It's wolf-like and can perform ice magic. I can't deny its strength, though." Ryoma is amazed and says, "A monster that can use magic? That's incredible." Elise tells him that her Fenrir is the pack leader of its species, and with that, she has managed to tame around 20 Fenrirs. Ryoma is shocked, and she stuns him further by revealing that she has about 100 shape-shifting wolves. Ryoma is speechless, and Elise tells him, "I'm excellent with shape-shifting wolves, to say the least." The Duke then says, "Elise is one of the finest tamers in the country. I used to feel inferior watching Elise and her amazing skills." Elise tells him, "That was in the past. Didn't you say you were more interested in swordsmanship and dueling? Plus, you don't lack taming talent either." The Duke replies, "Compared to you and father, I certainly don't have the aptitude to measure up." Ryoma remains in awe the whole time, stunned by Elise's power, her beast, and the number of monsters she has. Ryoma starts to daydream, and Elia asks him what's on his mind. He replies, "I was just thinking about how I'm surrounded by all these amazing people." Elise tells him, "You think we're impressive? You haven't met Lord Reinbach yet. He's far better than any of us." Ryoma is even more shocked as she explains, he has fewer than 20 shapeshifters, but half of them are dragons. The boy is utterly astonished this time. The grandfather laughs and tells them, "I'm not as incredible as you think. I've just been lucky, that's all. It's not just about my skills. My first monster was exceptionally strong, and in the end, all the other dragons came under its command. Still, I can only summon them when the situation is extremely important. Just imagine the chaos they would cause if I summoned them otherwise." Ryoma says, "I understand." Ryoma then asks, "But what exactly do shapeshifters do?" The grandfather explains that they live in the mountain territories owned by the kingdom. Those mountains are filled with very dangerous, powerful monsters, and my dragons prevent these monsters from escaping. Elise adds that her wolves also live on a different mountain, which serves as the habitat for most of the kingdom's valuable medicinal herbs. That's why they guard it from poachers. After that, Elise tells them, "Now that we've rested, let's continue our training." After several days of hard work, Ryoma is sitting with his adventurer friends in his shop, talking about the frog infestation, and they tell him that the season is about to begin soon. A researcher says that the peak will be within 3 or 4 days. Mia gets excited and says, "Finally, the time has come for us to make a lot of money." Everyone is thrilled about the adventure and the big earnings they'll make from it. Jeff says, "We came here to ask you something." Ryoma asks, "What is it?" They ask him about the work gear he wore during the communal bathroom cleaning job. "Can you tell us where you got it? We want to get one so we won't get soaked easily when hunting frogs." Ryoma tells them, "You can get it from Morgan's import company. Just tell them I sent you, and I'm sure they'll help you out." They thank him and say they'll head to Morgan's right away. Later, Ryoma is sitting with the family at home, and the Duke asks, "Have you heard the news, Ryoma?" Ryoma replies, "Yes." Elia tells him, "There are a lot of birds flying around the lake to catch these frogs." Elia is very excited about taming these monsters, and Elise tells him that they've decided to go to the lake tomorrow. Ryoma replies, "All right, I'll be well prepared." Afterward, Ryoma goes to his room and plays the guitar by himself to make it easier for him to tame the birds. He says that he's neither bad nor good at playing since he has very little experience. Then he gets sad, remembering that soon he will part ways with the Duke's family, whom he loves dearly, because once the season ends, he'll leave the town and move on. The next morning, they're on their way to the lake when Ryoma encounters the adventurer team led by Shin, the one who bought the blood slime from him. Ryoma greets them and tells the Duke's family to go ahead without him, stopping to chat with Shin and his team. At that moment, foolish Shin apologizes for his reckless behavior toward Ryoma and thanks him for helping them. Afterward, they bid Ryoma farewell and leave. Ryoma then runs toward the lake and finds the Duke and the family standing there. Upon arriving, he is astonished by the stunning view of the birds, watching as both birds and adventurers gather large amounts of frogs. The Duke notices someone trying to tame the birds and tells Ryoma and Elia to focus on him. At that moment, the man plays an instrument, but his playing is very irritating. Frustrated by the birds, the man attacks them, but they counterattack using magic, and he panics, running away in fear. Ryoma is surprised to see that the birds can use wind magic. The man, fleeing toward the Duke's family, is being chased by the birds who are about to catch him. Ryoma and Camille quickly use their earth magic to protect him. Suddenly, the birds let out a powerful sound that affects everyone intensely, except Ryoma, who doesn't feel the same pain as the others. He starts looking for the evolved bird causing the loud noise until he finds it and casts a sound barrier on it, stopping the magic. Afterward, the birds fly away from the area. The Duke and his men begin helping the people around them, and the Duke thanks Ryoma for his assistance. Ryoma asks what exactly happened, and everyone is shocked that Ryoma wasn't affected at all. The grandfather explains to Ryoma what happened, telling him that the bird is extremely rare and only appears once every 10 years. It can use dark magic combined with wind magic, making it highly unique. Ryoma then remembers that he has a skill called psychological pain resistance, which is what allowed him to withstand the noise. Elia asks him how he was able to stay unaffected, so he explains to her about the skill that protected him from the pain. Afterward, the Duke checks the situation and finds that all the birds have disappeared due to the commotion caused by the loud noise. Ryoma says to the warriors, "Now we have to find the bird's nest to track them down, right?" The scout replies, "Yes, but that's going to be very difficult because these birds fly farther than other monsters, so the area we'll have to explore will be huge." Elia decides that she'll stay in place and wait for the birds to return, and Ryoma agrees with her. Ryoma and the family remain by the lake until evening, waiting for the birds to return. But unfortunately, they start to feel discouraged. Elia says to Ryoma, "The time when we'll all go our separate ways is approaching, isn't it?" Ryoma becomes anxious, not knowing what to say. He thinks to himself that he's not used to awkward situations like this. A scene from a novel he read before with a similar situation comes to mind, and he tries to remember what the main character said. Just as he's about to tell her they'll surely meet again, Elise says the same exact thing, word for word, and asks Ryoma, "Isn't that right?" He replies, "Of course, definitely." At that moment, Elia feels a bit calmer and asks him, "Please, Ryoma, write to me, and I'll write to you too." He responds, "Of course," and then Hughes keeps teasing Ryoma until Ryoma finally punches him, knocking him to the ground, and calms down afterward. At that moment, the birds suddenly return. Ryoma notices the rare bird among them again and says to the Duke, "I'm going to step back a bit." The Duke asks, "Why?" Ryoma explains that the rare bird might make the noise again because it's wary of him, and it might clash with him and hurt everyone. Elia says, "I don't care about that. I'm not going to use your presence beside me as an excuse for my failure," and she prepares herself, approaching the birds. She tells them, "Please, watch closely as I tame these birds." Elia begins to play, and her music is beautiful, truly captivating the birds. Everyone present, even the adventurers, enjoys the music, and the birds start to sing along with her. This shows her success. Ryoma then reminds her of the taming, and she successfully tames them, becoming incredibly happy. Everyone congratulates her and is astonished that she managed to tame 9 birds at once. Then it's Ryoma's turn. He pulls out his guitar, and everyone is excited to hear his music. Ryoma starts playing, and the rare bird is among the others. He calms himself and begins to play. His performance is excellent, and everyone is impressed by his music, even saying that it's quite rare. The birds are also drawn to his playing and start interacting with him. A large number of birds gather around him, including the rare bird, and Elia reminds him about the pact. Ryoma successfully forms the pact with them, and everyone applauds and congratulates him on his achievement. Afterward, they prepare a grand feast to celebrate Elia's success in taming the birds, as well as to bid Ryoma farewell. Elia plays the flute, and as usual, she's stunning. Ryoma is amazed by her performance, thinking to himself that his journey with the Duke's family is nearing its end. Later, the two head to Ryoma's room where they talk for a while. Then, Elia gives Ryoma a ruby necklace as a gift. Ryoma is surprised, and Elia explains that her mother gave her this necklace when she was 10 years old on her birthday. She tells him, "I want you to keep it as a gift and take care of it until we meet again." Ryoma is hesitant at first, but then he promises her that he'll take great care of it. He starts thinking about what precious gift he could give her in return. After thinking for a while, he gives her 2 of his slimes, telling her, "These are the most valuable things I have. Please take good care of them. I think they will be very useful to you." Elia laughs, and Ryoma gets nervous, thinking he did something wrong. Elia quickly apologizes, takes them from him, and thanks him for trusting her. She promises to take good care of them. The next morning, the Duke and his family are leaving, heading back to their town, and they bid farewell to